Imagine a pitch-black 7th century dungeon. You are wrapped from head to toe in thick, rusted iron chains and sealed away behind 48 solid doors. The prisoner is a Jain monk. He sits in the center of the dark, an ascetic wrapped in silence, relying on internal devotion to shield him from the stone and steel. This extreme physical confinement sets the stage for a brutal historical test. It poses a single question: can the full weight of royal force crush unshakable spiritual faith? In 7th century India, theology was often a public spectacle. Rulers regularly summoned scholars and mystics to their courts, demanding they prove the validity of their religions by displaying supernatural or mantric powers. King Bhoja of Ujjain wanted exactly this kind of demonstration. He ordered the highly respected Jain monk, Acharya Mantung, to appear at his royal court. Engrossed in deep penance, the monk calmly refused the invitation, asking what an ascetic could possibly want with a royal palace. The king perceived this serene indifference as an insult to his authority. Enraged, Bhoja ordered his soldiers to drag the monk by force and lock him inside a maximum security chamber. The arrest was a calculated, highly public spectacle. A powerful monarch was using the sheer weight of iron to try and break a spiritual leader's resolve. This is an ancient Sanskrit manuscript. Out of this specific clash of egos and wills came the text preserved here, one of the most enduring devotional prayers in history. Thrown into the void and pressed against cold stone, Mantung experienced total sensory deprivation. He did not panic. He simply closed his eyes and began to meditate. His consciousness shifted entirely to the figure seen here, Lord Adinath, the first Jain Tirthankara, focusing on the profound stillness of the enlightened teacher. In that darkness, Mantung began to compose a Sanskrit poem. It is called the Bhaktamar Stotra, which translates to the Hymn of the Immortal Devotee. He was not begging for a rescue. The chanted poem was a quiet declaration that the physical world cannot contain the human soul. Then the physical reality of the cell began to break down. As Mantung chanted the final syllable of the very first stanza, a thick iron chain binding his body fractured and shattered into pieces. With the second verse, a heavy lock gave way and fell to the stone floor. A literal chain reaction of liberation was echoing through the dungeon. The king had relied on the rigid, unyielding properties of iron, but those locked doors were failing against the fluid resonance of the monk's chanted Sanskrit verses. The guards watched with growing alarm. They rushed to rechain the monk, but the physical hardware kept breaking. The spiritual momentum simply overwhelmed them. Finally, as the 48th stanza echoed through the corridor, the last heavy iron door swung wide open, flooding the pitch-black cell flow with pure, bright light. The methodical opening of those 48 doors suggests a specific point. Rigid physical limitations fail when subjected to the systematic application of unyielding conviction. King Bhoja was utterly humbled by the event. Seeing that his military might was fragile compared to a single monk's spiritual realization, the monarch fell to his knees at Mantung's feet. Look closely at the enduring architecture of this enshrined Jinnah statue. It mirrors the lasting legacy of the Bhaktamar Stotra itself, a text that remains universally revered by both the Digambara and Svetambara sects of Jainism today. To this day, the ruins of 48 stone pillars stand in the village of Ahu. They serve as a lasting geographical monument, anchoring this spiritual event in tangible history. We can apply this history directly to our own modern psychology. Most of us are bound by invisible barriers, heavy weights made of fear, chronic stress, and ego. In Jain philosophy, this is the concept of karmic bondage. Our daily actions and passions create invisible binds that restrict our souls, binds that are every bit as real as King Bhoja's iron locks. But we can shatter them. Practitioners view the Bhaktamar Stotra as a methodical sequence for dismantling internal prisons, using each verse to target specific layers of mental or emotional bondage. While physical walls and external hardships are undeniably real, the human spirit, when armed with singular devotion, possesses the power to break any chain.